Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Impact Podcast. How are you today? Hello, Dr. Obiama Martin.
Hello, beautiful. How are you?
Woo, it's been busy. It's been busy. So I realized too we didn't have an episode because we are on the first and third Thursday. So I feel like there's been some time in between. There has been some time, but that's okay. What I feel like has happened though, um, especially with the beginning of the school year, the wrapping up of the last like fiscal, all that stuff going on. Um, I feel like we had a lot to talk about. I know we only have about 45 minutes, but I'm excited to be back so that we can kind of talk about real time stuff like we always do.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of things have been happening, and something that I've seen, and for all of you, my background is different. You may hear some stuff because we're in real life in my center because life's, and honestly, I am in my center all week. I typically am here like 3 days a week, but wanting to show up for the team. It's our first full week and just wanted to be present. So you guys are going to get all of what I get on a regular day. You might hear the bell ring, you might hear children, and invite them in with me. That's all I can say. So I remember one time saying to you, like, so I'm one of those people when I record, I like it to be quiet. I'm talking, I need everything to be quiet. And so every time I used to try to record videos and stuff, everything would happen. I'm like, oh, now everyone's in gross motor. Everyone's running through the center. Everyone's crying and up.
Yes.
And you were like, it's a center.
Is it right?
You should hear kids. And I was like, that is true. It's about to be nap time. So that's the only reason I do expect some sense of quiet. But I was like, that is so true.
Yeah, it's
We're in a
it's
place for
true.
children. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And here's the thing about it. What I love, even going back to where we first started from, we really wanted to focus on real people, real conversations. And we talk about all the things, but like you're in a center, you're at your center, and so we should be hearing things going on in the background, right? Because
That's
your
right.
center is at capacity.
Yes, it is. It
Right,
is.
your center is at capacity. And so I love this topic that we're about to jump into. I need a dream team for my biz,
Yes.
right? So much to talk about, as you said, and I want to kick this off. I want to kick this off for
Please.
us because I was with a program near and dear to my heart earlier this week, and they've been open for 45 years. They have a legacy staple in the community, but the founders have went on to be with their creator, and the team that was the glue that had been a part of the foundation 25 years, 30 years, they've retired this year, and the other people have went to the school district.
Wow.
So I'm at the center on Tuesday, and she's like, so she kind of inherited the center because it's family owned, right? And she said, Obi, I only got 2 years left in me. Only got 2 years left in me. I want to go on, and she's in her 50s, and her children are grown, like everybody is grown. And the fact that her staff, the younger people who served 10, 12 years, have transitioned and went on to the district or pursued other things. She said, I now have a whole new team,
Yeah.
and it ain't the same, right? So
Yep.
so I just want to kind of kick that off to say, like, we have examples of legacy. We have examples, like, to have a center and have people with you 35, 20, 15 years says a lot about leadership,
Yes.
says a lot about community, says a lot about programming, says a lot about staff development, says a lot. So
Yeah.
I want to kick it off with that.
I love you set the foundation really, and that is exactly what I was thinking about with the topic, because I know what we're experiencing. I know that we have something similar, not as well close to, but right. My mom, with a history of 40 plus years, and we've had a number of people also who have been with the program for years. And with the first site, it was 15 years old, and now the newer site. Interestingly, here's what we deal with, because we are going through some staffing shifts as well, because at the site, the 15-year site, for a long time we had the same staff for a long time. And what I had to remind my admin team was those staff really were, a lot of them were, grew with us, I should say. We didn't build them, they grew with us. And so it wasn't that everyone came in and had all these years of experience and had all of these degrees, but they grew with us. We also built our culture, right? I talk a lot about culture and core values, and we did that together. So they knew what it was. They were bought in, and it wasn't like, well, I'm the director and you're just, no. We grew together, and we are in a space now, because a number of them have gone on as well, really looking at the shift, and like hiring now for the smaller site is difficult. It is difficult because it's smaller. It's in it's in a neighborhood that some people get a little nervous about coming to. And so the other site, which is younger, but it's a lot bigger, this is where I am now. You have a lot of the natural light, all of the things that we wanted, our wish list from the other site we have here. And so people gravitate to this one. And so even though we are the same organization, same culture, same leadership, we still have so many things that we have to think about when we are hiring. And we have to get creative about retaining staff, and it can get tough. So you mentioned we're full. We're fully enrolled. Um, Up to this week, until we could really settle the final staff, that was our difficulty with the enrollment. Was like, we have to pause because we don't have the staff. And I believe that's one of the things a lot of programs are dealing with, is we don't have the
across
staff.
the board. Across the
Absolutely.
board.
Yes.
Yeah.
And not even in
It's
just child.
staffing. Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying, across the board. Like staffing will make or break
Yes.
your business, your whatever. So much so, last night I had the opportunity to go to Adelphia, which is right over the bridge, right, the
Yes.
restaurant. And I had been there before, but yesterday the customer service from the waitress was over the top exceptional. And the person that I was with, we were like, I think this is like the best experience that we've had since because we go out and we meet and we talk and we always eat, and so that, like, at least once a week we kind of have like these business meetings where we breaking bread. And so I go everywhere because I'm a foodie. But what we were saying is that the customer service makes or break your business. The waitress was so inviting, like she kept checking on us. She wasn't in the way, but she kept checking on us. She was explaining the menu. She was very personable, right? We didn't have to, like, where you at, where I like, can you get this? Like, she was right there. She was right on time. And so as it relates to just some of those key foundational things, culture, right? That's the key. That's one of the keys. That's one of the keys in keeping staff. Because in my experience as a professor, as a coach, as an instructor, all the different things, people tell me that they leave not over money. They leave because of how they were made to feel. I
Yes.
didn't like the way the director, or I didn't like the way the owner talked to me or treated me.
Yeah. That's huge. And I agree with you. It's not about the money, because a lot of times we're all in the same range. It might differ by $1, if that, sometimes,
It's
right? And
that.
that whole idea of, well, what are they? Because I remember there would be times where we may have made an offer or something, and they may have said someone else offered $1, and now they're trying to see if we're going to go back and forth. But it really was about, when I tell you that right people, right seat, that is real. Like, I really only want the right person for my organization, because what we're doing then is we are temporarily filling a space. We're just filling a seat for the moment, just to say, okay, we're full. But now we're putting in all this time to train them. We're putting in all this effort. And depending on what they're bringing, now we have to redo, right? Because we talk about, I used to talk about this way back at Pratt Street. Like, we can't do the cancers. Like, I don't want to invite in people, and I'm not saying it sounds negative, and it is, depending on what it is that they're bringing. But I don't want to invite in something that's going to go against everything that I put out, and it becomes
Absolutely.
cancerous. And that whole one bad apple spoils the bunch is real, because now it starts to spread, and then you have to do all this work trying to cut around it when you just won't cut it out, and it's like, it's not going to work. I was looking at some resumes. I was looking at resumes. I had someone come in, and we had the interview. And when I tell you, we need people at Pratt Street, we really do. But I was just like, it just was not sitting right. Usually, I know by the time the interview is done, I'm like, yep, feels like a good fit. It feels right, but it just was not connecting. And it's like, for now, we had to call a previous employee who can do like like she can just
Mm-hmm.
temporarily work. We already know her, love her, has been a part of the organization for over 20 years. But I'm just like, no, we just have to hold it. We'll have to hold. Um, that's for, actually, Bustleton is full. Pratt Street, I know we have space, like infants is where we have the space at, because it's really, really hard to fill spaces, fill positions for infant teachers
With the right
with
people.
the
And so
with the
yeah,
right.
so
Absolutely.
I wanna highlight that for a second, because when we talk about the dream team for my biz, over the years, the consistent thing that I have been able to observe is program owners, directors holding on to staff beyond their expiration date. And that's where some of those cancerous, energies
Exactly.
form, because once you see a behavior, you identify the behavior, you address the behavior, and the behavior does not get better. However, you create this narrative about the behavior that's not true. Now that behavior is spreading like a cancer throughout your center. And what happens is you end up losing good people and also great families.
Absolutely.
So,
Because that behavior then that they brings in, it goes against everything that you've been talking about. And that's what I really like to be mindful of is, okay, but you keep saying our core values is this, but here's what I'm seeing. It goes against everything that you're constantly expecting from everyone else. So let me tell you about, you were here. I was telling you about someone who came in. It's so interesting, right? Someone came in. They were supposed to be going somewhere else for an interview, and
yes, yes.
they came here, and so we still was going through the process of getting clearances done, right? So they happened to come while
Right.
we had orientation, no children. And when I say she had been coming and coming consistently, this is what's interesting, because I saw a red flag, and I'm like, nope. Let me tell you what happened. Everything was going good, and we're like, let's get the clearances. Usually it's a fast process. And so they were honest to say it might. They were honest to say it might be something on there, because I had a relationship. I was in a relationship, and he tried to say, nothing major, but he tried to say I was trespassing. Okay, all right. We got to run the clearances anyway.
Right. Right.
So one day, I get a call. I'm told that she was calling to follow up. Um, and so I'm talking to her on the phone, and she's like, I was told I have to pay for the FBI clearance. And I was like, yes, ma'am. Well, so then she started asking about payday. So payday had happened to be Monday, and she was at the orientation the previous week. But I was like, but love bug, you're not an employee. So no, you
Yes.
didn't get a paycheck, right? Of course, once you are employed, you did spend your time with us, but you're not an employee. So I'm a little confused at why you expected to pay. But little mama started getting smart, right? This is how crazy it is. My kids are in here. Sayla, Sayla stood up and was like looking at the phone. And I was like, okay. I said, I'm gonna pause real fast. I'm gonna pause real fast. 'Cause what I don't care for is how you're talking right now. So I think what you might want to do is you might want to talk to me face to face. This isn't go this I don't and she said, no, what do you mean? I'm so sorry, I'm not feeling well. I think I may have come off a little. Mm-mm. So that right there was a red flag. And then I happened to get the results of the criminal record, and I didn't like what I saw. And to me, that was clear. Again, really nice, had really shown a lot of persistence coming to the orientation and everything. But I cannot overlook what I experienced with you and what I saw. And to me, I would be inviting in on a hope. And it's not consistent with what I'm looking for, because at any given moment when something may not go your way, I feel like that's how you're going to act. Because I'm not sure how you talking to somebody like that you're trying to get employed by. And I was
Yes,
like, okay. And she came and apologized and everything, but you can't forget what someone shows you.
that's
And so
right.
I was like, I told my director, I was like,
Yeah.
that's enough. That's
Yeah,
enough.
you can't unhear what you heard. You
I,
can't
I
unsee
heard
what
that.
you saw.
I was like, I experienced that. And
Right.
so, and while I get, right, while I get that things happen, again, all I could think about is where we have come, for how far we've come. And I really don't want to take a chance. Like, to me, that's a risk. That's a risk to say, you know what, maybe that was one time, but maybe it wasn't. And I'm not that in need, especially how far we've come, and we've invested. And you know, because you've worked with the team, we've invested so much that one act from someone that I bring in can totally undo that and could take away the trust that my team has based on
Yeah.
who I'm bringing in. And I'm not going
Yes.
to. So I would definitely say that is we're talking about getting your dream team. That right there to me is not dream team behavior. And so I don't, I would rather continue looking for someone to fill. We have uh, 6 infants. No, we have, yes, because we have a temp person and we have 6 infants, two more, and we're done. But I'm like, I want to pause on that enrollment too. It's not about the money, because I could easily say, well, we have someone temporarily and we can enroll, but I don't want to overwhelm. I don't, all of these things is me being intentional and thoughtful about the team that I have, and not wanting to, again, undo the work. I don't want to overwhelm them, and I want to put the right people in place. And so we do have someone who's coming up as a floater, and so I'm okay with that, but not as a teacher. So I share all that to say, even in our moments where we feel like, it's really tight and we have to make a move, and money is on the line and all of that stuff, like building a dream team, it definitely takes some pausing. It takes some going back to the basics of who are we, where are we going, is this person fit to go where we're going, right? Because some of them are okay for now, and it's like, no.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
yeah, that one, it doesn't work.
So I want to put a pin in it and highlight, for those of you who are listening, you may be thinking, I want to know how to identify those red flags, or I want to know how to establish the culture that you've created, Aaliyah, or I want to know more about, tell me more about that program that's been around for 45 years. Like, there are so many things that we share. And as you are listening to us, you're like, wow, that sounds amazing. I don't even know the staff I have. I want to lay hands on them, but I'm stuck because I have these kids. Listen, we got you. We got you. So I want to take a moment just to share with you about our upcoming cohort 3. We have cohort 3. It is our exceptional leadership fellowship program. It is 16 sessions. We start in less than 2 weeks, September 18th, I think Monday, September 18th. We meet bi weekly. It's a hybrid. model. We meet over Zoom, and we have a couple of Saturday sessions. But here's the thing: you get Aaliyah, you get myself, you get the marriage, you get over 60 years of experience, education, knowledge, and expertise. And so, if it has happened, we have already experienced it. So, if you know that I need this, you need this, and you need this so that you can take your program to the next level, or you just need this because you want to learn how to be a better leader or a better communicator. The things that we're talking about is one of the sessions or
Yeah.
modules, rather. Leading a team, building your team, developing your team is one of the modules that we delve into, and we spend time teaching and talking about and giving you practical resources, right? Because we know that as a director, as a leader, as an administrator, wherever you find yourself, that you're going to need the right tools
Yes.
on your tool belt to take care of the diversity of needs that come up for you to be able to address and get the right people in the right seat. You hear Leah talk about that all the time. Right people, right seat. And so we invite you to join us. I don't have the link. Do
I
we
will.
have
I'll
to
put the
put the
link in.
link
Yep.
in
Absolutely.
the chat.
Yep.
Okay.
Um.
Yep.
Yeah, and I
I'll have
love.
the
You know
link.
what?
But make sure
I'm sorry. You were saying something.
Make sure you guys click the link. No, it's okay. Make sure you guys click the link, or you can inbox Aaliyah, you can inbox myself or Damaris. But listen, cohort 3, you do not want to miss. We've had 2 successful cohorts with individuals who were all the things, meaning from owners to directors to program administrators to curriculum specialists to assistant directors. We've had individuals from family daycare, group daycare, to small center to large center. So our program is for you if you are ready to take your program and your or leadership and communication skills from good to great.
And that's, and what I love about it, I'm thinking about um, examples such as the one that I gave is what we get to teach around. It's real time, but also those are the type of things that those in the program bring each week, meaning it's real time learning. And so because I experienced that, and Damaris has experienced so much, and you have experienced so much within the week that we meet, not only do we already have the action packed content, but we also bring, let me give you a scenario about what took place this week and what we did about it, and how we literally teach the participants how to kind of react to real time stuff, because we know that a lot of us have gotten degrees and we've gone to school, and that's great. So over the semester we've learned, and then you get that degree and then you go into the classroom, and it's like, okay, what do I do now? And there you go and try to find that textbook if you didn't sell it back, because sometimes you sell the textbook back, but then you try to find it, but you don't necessarily have that community. That's the difference, because again, our stuff is so real time, and it's like, you know what, let's add this in, or let's share with the participants. And I know that I'm still learning stuff because we have new experiences as business owners. Like, we have over 60 years, but all three of us, when we talk within a week, it's like, let me tell you about what happened this week.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then we celebrate how we took, like, how we responded based on the growth that we've had. And a lot of people don't have the community to do that in. And so we at the beginning of each one, we get to do exactly what we just did, which is share what took place, celebrate one another, hold everyone up, and encourage them, so that when they go back to work, now they come back stronger, wiser, more confident. And I'm sorry, you can't buy that.
You cannot buy that anywhere. You can't bottle it up. It is priceless, and you can only get it with us. And we know it for a fact because we collectively have participated in every program that is available, that has been available, that was available. So we know firsthand that what we are curating is authentic to us and our experiences. And I think that also says a lot, because especially you're being a center director with your years of experience, Damaris being a center director with her years of experience, me being a center director, on top of me teaching the director's credential in real time currently, right? And just, I've been teaching the director's credential since 2015. I've been a director, a owner, all the things over 20 years. So I'm in this work every day. You're in the work every day. Damaris is in the work every day. So it's not just a textbook, it is real time, practical. Okay, this is the situation. What do we do? So much so, I think it was last week where we talked about, or 2 weeks ago, where we talked about a parent, wilding out at a center, and a
Yep.
parent having to get dismissed. And, another situation happened with another child or another family and the special needs. And how do you do that and how you deal with that? Also, from, an employee trying to sabotage everything that you put together and intentionally
Yep.
planting things in your program to make it look like there's negligence, to make it look like, right? So we deal with all the things. There is nothing, again, nothing, absolutely nothing that has happened or will happen that we don't talk about and have experience and have the expertise to say, when this shows up, when
Yep.
they show up,
Yep.
whosoever, whatsoever, this is the professional and ethical way to handle it.
Yep. Absolutely. That makes me think about we have another module around advocacy. And a lot
Yes.
of times when we talk about advocacy, many people think about, right, going to Harrisburg or legislators related advocacy, which we talk about that too. But this self advocacy, if you will, which is a topic I'm talking to my little children about, self advocacy. And so I had to do some self advocacy yesterday with my families. And this is, again, what I mean by real time learning, because interestingly, ISIS was a part of the leadership fellowship. And when I tell you that when there has been handling all the stuff, advocating and putting into practice everything that was learned, I'm talking, guys, listen, you learn it on a Monday and you are implementing it on a Tuesday. No, literally, literally. So what happened, for those of you in the Philadelphia area, and I don't know if it's happening in your state, but our school district ended up closing. They had half days this week, which was not scheduled. And so for us, we have school age children and we support them when schools are closed. And we already created our calendar based on the school district calendar. But this half day closure was not included. And therefore, we could not accommodate. And so we have some families who are not happy about that. And here's where the self advocacy comes in. Interestingly, I did half of it, and my teacher too, who was translating and everything, did the other half. And I was like, "Thank you, thank you." And what it was about was basically we should be filling in the gap of when the school district closes. And I said, "Well, let me give you a little background information." So we do according to what has already been scheduled, but we get paid for, because I did have to give the financial side as well. We get paid for like that before and after part-time care. Not only that, when our air goes down or when things happen in our building, we have a responsibility and we do what we need to do to care for the children. So the fact that there are schools who do not have air, I would implore, and I can help you reach out to those who you need to reach out to, which is you advocating and you reaching out to your schools or the mayor or something, because they don't have air in them because they're closing and we're supposed to pick up the pieces. And we seem to always be expected to pick up the pieces when someone closes or something happens and now we have to be available. My teachers have to be available for the full-time children we have here. And so because of the structures and systems that we put in place based on what they have already shared, meaning that calendar, we are unable to accommodate outside of this. Now, what we did have available, we can't accommodate at 12 when they dismiss, but we can at the 3 o'clock that we're scheduled. That is available to you. And so if you would like to make some arrangements and get them here, by all means, we are available. So, and it was like,
I love that. I love that.
I mean, listen, it's that's not fair. That that's not fair. And I want you
I'm
to advocate.
I'm cracking up though. I'm cracking up though because it's really not funny, but it's funny. It's two-sided. So communication, and I'm listening to you, and I'm thinking about people who are in this space and would not have responded the way that you responded because they didn't know that they could. Right? So there are so many things that are implied that as a program director, as an owner, you are not legally binded to. And
Exactly.
that's why this advocacy part is so vitally important because you don't know what you don't know. And we get to help you see the blind spots. We get to help you see when you're being bullied and somebody is manipulating and overstepping the guidelines or the parameters of their contract.
Yes.
And so Aaliyah was able to stand on the boundaries within her contract that says we operate within this frame, not outside of it, and we would love to accommodate you, and this is how we can.
This is how we can. There we go.
And this is how we can.
Yes.
But a
That's
lot of
all.
people don't know, right? And so here's another piece we teach y'all, and I gotta say this because when you don't know, it costs you financially. So there's another module that we teach on money and how to manage your money because how you do anything is how you do everything. So when you open up your program to taking children that are not supposed to be there in a specific time frame, it impacts your budget and it puts a strain on your staff because now everybody is moving around to accommodate, and now it causes supervision issues, right?
Exactly.
Active supervision is now not in play. People are not where they're supposed to be because everybody's trying to accommodate, and just because you were unaware of your right to say no.
And no is a whole sentence. It says so much.
Period.
It says so much. And you're right in regards to the communication because it wasn't just a flat no and turn around, right? It's like, and let me tell you why. Because again, that part was the advocacy, and I really wanted them to understand that because I don't think we advocate enough, meaning we share all that we do. And so we are childcare. Yeah, we education because we teach. We have our hours where it is considered education, and then we have what's considered childcare outside of the education hours. But I don't think a lot of times families get to really see all of not just families, but I don't think we paint a good enough picture about all that happens here. And so I think these are the moments where we can, give light to here's what we do. And so here's who you can reach out to for that issue. It's not just us like complaining to us or saying that because it was said like, well, y'all should have more people. Well, that costs more too. And who's paying for that? Like, why am I having more people
Right.
on hand to accommodate when the school districts close? Like, that's not fair. So what I would do is I would contact those schools and the mayors and the superintendent and
Right.
really raise y'all voices about, they may have their own pushback, but we all have a space of accountability. And so
Yes.
here's because everything we said we were going to do, we are doing. Outside of that, now
And
I could probably point you in some directions and they said, well, who's going to pick their kids up at 12 and then bring them here at 3? We have some. There's a families coming in. They are. People are doing it. And so our regular schedule goes, we resume on Monday. Monday we got you.
Here's the other part of that. Here's the other part of that. It is the communication, right? And it's also the education, because parents don't always know that there's boundaries, right? Parents don't always know, especially unfortunately, some of our families who benefit from the subsidies that are provided take
Uh-huh.
advantage and are sometimes so entitled that they overstep their boundaries. And so when you have people in place who are unaware of policies and procedures, they will give in out of fear and repercussion when the parent come in this very aggressive, authoritative energy, right? And you feel like, oh, I need to do this. So they're going to pull their child out. Well, here's the thing. This is a cross the board, city issue with the school district. It's not a unique thing that is only happening at my program. Everyone who accepts children from the school district is being impacted. So, what I encourage you to do, because now this is a teachable moment, as you said, these are the people that you can contact, and this is something that you need to now plan for and be prepared for as a parent, that at any given time, the school district, for reasons that we're not necessarily aware of because we're hearing about it after they've made the decision, not before they've made the decision, right?
Yep.
So,
Yep.
as much as you are surprised, we are also surprised. And because we are surprised, we cannot accommodate.
That's
That's
it.
it.
That's it right there. And this also speaks to staff retention as well, because teachers
Yes.
do hear and they see when all of a sudden everything that you said and the things that you put into place, as soon as a parent complains or something like that, now everything goes out the door. They also see the boundaries that are set. And we, like Obiama said, we were thinking about so many different things, right? Because some programs have to think about capacity. Some, you can't have your preschool program of all your children, your full-time children, and now that the school district is out, that could impact someone's capacity, but also that affects staff as well, because now we have to shift everything around, and that consistency that they had now is changing when we hadn't planned for it. And so we think about our staff as well when things come up, and it's like, okay, how best can we manage that so that it doesn't impact everyone in a way that we can avoid. And I say that because this is the first week of school. They are doing phenomenal, right? Of course, we have our criers. We have a lot of new. I think we had 90 new children, and that's a lot already on teachers.
Wow.
And so to ask that much
Yes.
more of them when we didn't have to, I'm not willing to do that because we already don't know what's coming through their door on day one. And so that too, think
So
about your staff in those,
wait,
in
wait,
those
wait.
moments.
So wait a minute. Who I want to know. I want to know. So those of you who are listening, because you said something, and I don't want to just let it pass by, because that's another course we teach around marketing and enrollment. You said we have 90 new
Yes.
children. Who wants to be able to say at any given time, I have 90 new children that enroll, that start? Like, that speaks volume in it of itself in terms of the growth, but also the program, as well as the dream team that you have in place that is able to enroll, market, attract, and retain 90 families. Like, y'all need to be signing up just for that, to
Yes.
learn how to do that. I'm
Yes.
just saying.
And we teach that, we do. That was strategic. We already knew how many was graduating, so we already knew what we had to prepare for, and we talk about all of that in planning for it. And for example, if you have something that you know is coming up in your program, I remember one of our participants had like an open house, and that literally was something we helped her plan for,
Right.
supported her
Yes.
through, celebrated her. And those are the type of things that we know something is coming up, we can share with the community. It may not, everything isn't on the syllabus, we have it structured, we are prepared, but people bring things that are in real time. Again, it's real time for them. And because we have the experience and we have that relationship built, we're able to support through that. And us as a team, we did exactly that. We knew, all right, how many is leaving? Then we know we have to prepare for and enroll 90 within this summer period. It's happening before then. And we talk about, like you said, in the marketing module, a lot of our marketing is really word of mouth. It's kind of like,
Hmm.
oh my goodness, they done bought in our Philly pre-K program, Isis is like, she filled up the whole program. She keep bringing her friends back, and people are coming back because they're telling others about it. The woman you saw last week that came in, she had her
Hmm.
whole packet. She was like, no,
Yes.
because I keep hearing so many things about this place. And she said, they said everyone here is so nice. And I was like,
But
thank
that
you.
speaks to the dream team. That
That's
speaks to the dream team. And my
ooh,
point is, you would not have been able to have such a success without having the right people in the right seat.
yep,
Because what you experience, the stories that I hear across the city of Philadelphia alone, people are really struggling. They're struggling with enrollment and they're struggling with staff.
yes.
And so you are at capacity at Bustleton with children and with staff. So just so that people can get a clear picture, what is your capacity? Like how many classrooms, how many staff, just so that they know, because we like throwing out numbers, but I want to give people the real
Yes, yes, yes. So we
at
have a
Bustleton.
capacity of 198. Yes, we have a capacity of 198, 11 classrooms, and then we have school age. And so a part of our strategic planning too is we do have a large space and we have a large pre-K program. So we know that between 8 and 2:30, like we're full, but then there is opportunity outside of that. And so that was our goal this year, was to grow like our school age program, or seeing enrolling even our extended care program, so that we can optimize on our space. And so what that helps us do, like that's going real deep in the stuff that we cover, and
That we
we talk about
teach,
even
that we teach.
finances.
We ain't gonna
Absolutely.
give it to them all. It's just the appetizer. It's just the appetizer. So
Yes.
don't even finish that sentence. Don't even finish that sentence. You're gonna have to enroll in the course to get the details. You're gonna have
I
to
know.
enroll in the course.
Sign up. But all of those things, it's all strategic. And like you said, knowing your numbers, all of that we talk about. And I listen, and I could bet that Damaris and you as well, Obiama, regardless of what module we're talking about, or what we talk about, I know that I walk away learning something as well. And when I
Every
say that,
time.
every time, every time, just from what the participants are sharing, or just aha moments, or the fact that we're all together. And um last year, we went to the advocacy event around
Yes.
challenging behaviors and special needs, and it was a real
Yes.
time class, and a leadership moment. And I promise you, you know what, we'll have to bring on Miss Fatima, who was in the program last year as well, and Miss Lauren. Um,
Yes.
I They were not for show, and I don't bring up my staff because I just threw them in there. First of all, they were paid for. They were paid for, and they were invested in, and they are fully in their leadership position. Miss Fatima, I said stuff that when you're a leader, and I have these moments still where it's like, you know what, no problem, I got it. She's like, no, I got it. And not only did she have a lot of what we spoke about, she came back and said, I don't remember we were talking about, but she was like, I want to cover in the education portion and orientation, the accountability part. She came up with this phenomenal SWOT analysis, not the typical SWOT analysis, but she created it so that we can be better informed about our professional development needs for teachers. I was like,
Let's
the
see.
investment that I made in paying for this course for her paid for.
Yes.
Paid for. And it depends on how you look at it, because I can say paid for just from the amount of time it would have taken me to create the professional development plan for my team, because I always have to look at how many hours they have and what do they need. And I spend a lot of time creating these things, and then, okay guys, we're going to have a meeting. All right, here's what I created. All right, get back to me. And then we spent all these hours around professional development planning that she had already done. That's just one side, but the development is continuing, and she is like doing phenomenal. She just came back in, she went to the other site and was like, okay, can we meet tomorrow so that we can go over what I observed? And now I'm getting ready to go around and see how everyone's doing. My heart just was like,
Yes.
thank you. Leadership. Leadership.
And it takes time. So I do want to say to you guys, this is not overnight. So I do not want to mislead you in no form or fashion. However, because of our collective commitment to quality and serving families, we have been able to curate the things that you hear us talk about, right? So it takes commitment. It definitely takes core values. It takes having a sure, solid rock foundation in the principles and the standards and all the things that go into creating and attracting and retaining the dream team for your business. And so we're going to wrap this up by again inviting you. Aaliyah, put the link in the comment. Again, you want to hear more about this amazing, phenomenal, exceptional leadership fellowship, cohort 3, starting on Monday, September 18th. Inbox us, click the link. You need to figure out how to make sure you are in this cohort, because I promise you, what you're going to get is going to be over the top, priceless. Like what we are charging and what you get, it doesn't equal up. It just doesn't.
It doesn't. I'm going to wrap up by taking off my co-facilitator hat. I'm going to put all that aside, and please just listen to me as a director and executive director owner. I, again, even though I am a co-facilitator, I, as a director, look at my team and say, who's up next, or who can be developed? Where do I need help at? And then I choose the person or people who also look like they have either the hunger to grow, or they just may not know it. And all they need is for you to see them or invest in them. This may not be about you. It might be about you, because sometimes we think it's not about us, but it is. So it may be about you. So if it is, register. But if it's not, think about your team, or what it is that it may be a gap between what you have been doing and what you can't do, but what you need. And they're literally sitting on your team and they just need to be developed. That's what I do all the time. And I'm every year thinking about who's up next, so that when those spaces open up, that's another part of staff retention and things like that, is allowing them growth. And growth isn't always necessarily a title, but it is an opportunity to grow and be seen. And so take a moment to think about your team. Who has a capacity to grow, wants to grow, and that you can invest in them. And in 16 weeks, I promise you, you will see the difference. You will see a difference, because we always talk about it, personal development and professional development. The investment is worth it. And that was me as a director. All right. With that, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. Another episode of the Impact Podcast. Thank you, as always, Dr. Obiama Martin. We missed our sister Damaris today, but we will see her next episode. Until then, have a good one.